What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Infinity League podcast.
What up? What up?
As you can see, we have Jake here today.
Yep.
So today we're going to be going over all the trades that took place this year and give our thoughts about how maybe they turned out. Things change a lot over a year and whatnot. So we have 41 trades that happened this season, and to go over, some of them are, bigger trades, obviously, and some of them, weren't so big, I guess. Sure, big. We'll spend a couple seconds on each one, give our thoughts. And
Pretty active year.
Pretty active year. 41 trades, that's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
Really, especially for the first year.
Yeah, we just
technically
drafted the teams, and then
you
have that much movement. That's
41 trades is a lot for the first year. I cannot believe that we had that. And really, it was funny because they really didn't start happening until the season started, which makes sense. But probably like the first 10 or so. Probably probably 15 were the off season, and half of them were during the draft, which obviously makes a lot of sense too. But anyways, we'll get started. First trade was between myself and Zach. Restart real quick. So the way I did this was, if there were picks traded that, basically 2021 picks for our rookie draft that were traded, I just plugged the player in there. So they might not make sense because you technically didn't get that player, but I just filled the thing in so that way we can kind of see what players you could have picked at that spot if you had kept the picks. So anyways, back to the trade. I got Zach Wilson and Zach got DJ Chark. So what are you thinking?
Initially I thought that you probably won the trade, but looking back on it, seems pretty even, with you more or less winning it, with DJ Chark not really doing a whole lot this year. But at the time, it was pretty solid, even trade.
Yeah.
I think going forward, you'll benefit from getting Zach more than he got DJ Chark.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that it's a starting quarterback probably helps it make it a win, I guess, in a way. And DJ Chark, he's okay. He obviously tore his ACL, so it didn't really help out Zach at all. But Zach Wilson didn't really start doing anything until the end of the season.
Yeah,
and he looked better.
He's still up in the air whether he's going to really get an opportunity in New York, or he'll be subjected to backup role in the next handful of years. So it could still turn either way, but I believe that long term edges you out a little, but solid trade.
Yeah, definitely. Moving on to the next one. This was between you and I. You got Derek Carr and Nico Collins, and I got Devontae Parker, and it would turn out to be 2022 106. I'm gonna say, since Derek Carr is actually halfway decent and Nico Collins is actually coming around, I think you won. I think you did. I mean, 106 is a decent pick, but I think I'd rather have the other two.
Yeah, looking back at it, I'm not mad at it at all. Obviously, Devontae didn't have the year that some of us thought, and Nico obviously didn't emerge like I was hoping he would. But me being a fan of Michigan, that was more of a fan pickup, and now he seems to be emerging to at least maybe possibly be like a 2 or 3 next year. So I think it's going to work out, especially if Derek Carr stays in LA or Las Vegas. It could end up being a real profitable trade for me in the next year or two.
Mm-hmm. Moving on to trade number 3, Ken got Mac Jones and Rondale Moore and Jet got Joe Mixon and 2022 212. I think that's pretty even, honestly. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Mac, but I mean, he is a starting quarterback, so he looked fine this year. He wasn't great, but he's just fine. Rondale Moore, I know there was some talk the other podcasts about how he's maybe being a little misused, blah blah blah. Joe Mixon had his best year, so Jet did, got a good year out of him. Obviously, I didn't help because Jet had the first pick, but still, good player. Still has him for a couple of years, I'm sure. But yeah.
Yeah, Rondell came on the scene hot this year, so it seemed like he was going to edge out that side of it, where it looked like Mac was going to be the rookie quarterback of the year, and possibly be on the verge of being a very good guy, a very good quarterback for years to come. I think at the very least he's gonna be a top 15, top 20 guy for the next 10 years. I mean, and then Rondell, if they can figure out how to get him back to the beginning of the season where he's more of a boom or bust guy, but has the possibility to put up 20 points any given week, that's pretty solid side, but like you said, it's dang close even because Mixon, he's at the back end of his career, but still a very good running back, and that pick should come in handy.
So moving on to 4, that's kind of a bigger trade. Ken got Tyreek Hill, and Bruce got Henry Ruggs, Mac Jones, Rondale Moore, Tutu Atwell, and the 12th pick of the first round this year. I would say that it was actually not that bad, but Henry Ruggs kind of killed that.
Yeah.
So if Ruggs was there, it probably wouldn't look that bad. But same thing we were talking about earlier. If Rondale Moore can figure it out, sure. I'm not really super excited about the 12th pick of this year's draft, but maybe he can figure out something.
Yeah, initially I want to say Ken won the trade just because he got a guy like Tyreek, but looking at Tyreek's year this year, he didn't exactly have a Tyreek year or a eye-popping year. He was a little bit more boom or bust this season. So it makes the trade for me a little more even. I believe that Bruce probably would have won if he would have been able to utilize Henry Ruggs instead of Ruggs getting in trouble, because no, the draft isn't great this year, so 112 isn't the greatest pick, and Tutu isn't emerged with the other wide receivers there and stuff, but has pretty solid floor for what they could be in the next couple of years, but nowhere near what Tyreek gives you.
Right. All right. So moving on to number 5, I got Javonte Williams. Daniel got 2022 104 and 2022 304. I'm very happy with that because at this point, Javonte is probably worth at least 2 firsts. I mean, a lot of people are talking him up as a top 5 dynasty running back. Obviously, he needs to show it. I mean, I guess he kind of has shown. He just needs the opportunity, I guess I should say. Because I think if he has a backfield all to himself, he should be a top 5 running back next year.
Yeah, I am a little less enthusiastic on him than you are. I think that he has all the potential to be a top 5 running back in the next year or two. But I think that with Mixon's, not Mixon, but Melvin Gordon's season this year that he had, I think that they're going to end up still keeping him around, which will hamper his overall ceiling.
Yeah.
But
definitely that'll happen.
But getting him for a 3rd and a 1st is a steal in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think that at the very least he probably should have got a 1st and 2nd. But with the possibility of him still having to share carries next year, it's even with a 3rd and a 1st and sharing carries, it's worth the swap.
Yeah, Javonte was actually the 12th ranked running back even with sharing carries this year. So,
and I think Melvin wasn't too far behind, like 2022, something like that.
Yeah, Melvin got hurt for those couple of games, so that's probably what.
It reminded me a lot of Hunt and Chubb the year before.
All right, on to number 6. Jake got Terrace Marshall, and Zach got Davis Mills and Kellen Mond. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Terrace Marshall because when when receivers don't do anything the first year, no, don't work
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, that's one of the positions that it seems like they emerge but either quickly or they're not really gonna emerge.
Right.
I was really high on him at the time. Obviously, as we'll get into more trades, you'll see that I got rid of him. But at the time, I was really high on him. I believe that he was going to be a focal point with the young quarterback, but it just hasn't really emerged as more than a second or third option. And Davis Mills was kind of a toss up whether he was going to get an opportunity this year or just be a career backup. Obviously, I believe that he got the better end of it with Mills.
Yeah, that just wins it right there.
Because even if Marshall becomes somewhat decent, I think Mills being a quarterback will outweigh that production.
Definitely. All right, on to 7. Ken got Kadarius Toney and Kellen Mond, and Zach got Pat Fryermuth. That's actually a pretty good trade. Not
Yeah,
bad. Kadarius Toney's had some flashes, like a flash, I guess I could say, like one game.
yeah,
And Pat Fryermuth had a pretty good rookie season, above average, I would say. I think he was he was like right around 12, I think.
yeah. I think I want to say he was like a 14.
Yeah, somewhere in there. But it's like Kadarius Toney had a couple, like a game or two where he was good. Kellen Mond hasn't really shown on anything yet, obviously, but
Yeah, I think it's pretty solid, and obviously it may affect Fryermuth not having the same quarterback next year, but
could be better,
could also
beneficial
be-
too.
it could also be better because he'll have more than likely a younger quarterback that'll use him as a safety valve.
Definitely. So on to number 8, Bruce got DeAndre Hopkins and the 2022 103, and Tim got Delvin Cook and De'Ami Brown.
Pretty solid.
It's not bad. I think Cook and Hopkins are both past their prime. So
Yeah.
the winner would probably be, the 103.
Yeah, I think that's what comes down to it for me is if he would have been able to get away with a late round first or even early second, I'd feel more comfortable about the trade. But
Right.
De'Ami Brown not emerging really at all,
No.
and this year's draft class kind of evens it out some.
Mm-hmm.
But
This will be able to get a pretty decent player at 103, I think.
yeah, he'll still be able to at least have a depth piece that he can plug in at times, and that will give him the edge, in my opinion, in the trade.
Definitely. All right, so on to 9. Jimmy got Davis Mills, Zach got Seth Williams, and the 2022 209. I mean,
That seems like a whole lot of okay for okay.
yeah, this is pretty much nothing. I mean, Davis Mills is starting quarterback. He wins pretty much at this point.
Yeah. At that point, it's kind of just that seems more like a trade that was done to fill a hole or two.
Right. Nothing like filling those holes. But anyways. Oh man, it's good times. Anyway, on to number 10. These are like, I think these were trades that were done like the back half of the draft. I'm pretty sure, like during the draft. Yeah. Anyway, Jake got Chris Evans and Jet got Jalen Darden and Simi Fieko.
Yeah, that was right at the end where I basically just gave up the rest of my picks for
right, to get Chris Evans.
which I'm pretty happy about.
Yeah, you won.
Yeah.
Like, Chris Evans is actually halfway decent.
He just played a pretty crucial
Right.
role in the return game the
Right.
last couple games. So yeah, I think that
Yeah.
I pretty much got the only guy that's gonna be
Right.
anything. He'll be at least the third down back.
Right, like he's probably like a Giovanni Bernard light. Like
Yeah.
he'll never be the top guy, but he's halfway decent.
Yeah, which honestly at that point in the draft probably wasn't that bad of a trade for either of us
Right.
because it was a dart throw for either of us, and luckily I'm the one that something stuck.
Right. All right. So this is kind of like the same thing for our trade number 11. I got Brevin Jordan and Jet got Keeney Nguanu and Emir Smith Marset. What is going on?
Who?
What's up with him in drafting people? I can't pronounce their names.
He just wants more dart throws. He always does that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that he enjoys the names more
Yeah.
than
The
the
pick.
players.
Yeah, and Brevin Jordan, like down the stretch, was actually like halfway decent. So it was kind of like the Chris Evans thing, like, yeah, at least I got something that might work out, you know?
Yeah,
Huh?
He might end up starting.
Yeah, he
yeah.
might be the starter.
Same with the previous one. I believe that neither will end up being like anything real solid, but the only person out of those three that will end up staying in the league, at least in the backup role, is Brevin Jordan.
Yeah. So Amir Smith Marset might be okay when Thielen leaves, but that's a tall ask at this point.
Yeah, and especially if they go and they add more to the receiving group this year.
Exactly. Too bad Jim Harbaugh didn't get to decide
Right.
that. Anyway, on to number 12, on to Cincinnati. Bruce got 2022 206. Kinda. It's really 207, but 206. Jake got Ben Roethlisberger. How you feeling?
I'm not mad.
Yeah.
I'm not. I think that Ben gave me about the same value that I would have gotten out of that second round pick this year.
Possible. Second round picks are always, I mean, they're still kind of dart throws.
Yeah, I
This
mean,
draft class.
obviously there's the upside of the pick longevity and getting somebody like even like a St. Brown or something like that in the second round.
Right.
That could end up being decent. So obviously, I believe that long term Bruce won the trade, but he gave me a solid third quarterback that I did have to at times plug in this year. So
Right.
he gave me what a quarterback should give you, 15 to 30 points anytime that he start, and it was a better option than starting a wide receiver or something like that. So I
Mhm.
think it worked out for both of us.
Sure. 13. We got Dylan and you again. You traded a lot after not going like 3 years without doing it in another league. Anyways, Dylan got Jonnu Smith and David Montgomery, and you got Kenny Galladay and Damian Harris. Not gonna lie, it's kind of a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
It seemed good at the time, but everybody sucked. Even David Montgomery was not great this year. He was okay. He's definitely the best one out of there. Damian
Yeah.
Harris had good times too, so it's not terrible. But
Yeah.
everybody was hurt.
I believe if Montgomery would have stayed healthy, he probably would have edged me out in the trade.
Yeah.
But at the same time, Damian Harris wasn't that far behind this year.
It wasn't really.
He was a step down, but not much of a step down in a flex running back 3. Galladay was a damn crapshoot, but as bad as he was, I'd say Johnny was just as bad, if not worse.
Well, Johnny, I'm pretty sure is chilling on the free agents right now. So.
Right. So I would say that it was a pretty even trade with me being able to utilize my guys a little bit more than he was. So I would say, obviously, I'm biased that I won the trade a little bit, but it's pretty even and not my greatest trade looking back at it.
No, I assume Galladay, as bad as he was this year, will probably still produce more than Jonnu at some point.
Exactly.
So that's probably why I'd probably put you over the top, because Damian Harris is still okay. David Montgomery, we'll see how that turns out, but yeah. 14. Man, I really regret this trade.
That's how I feel.
It ended up working out in the end, I think, but man, Anyways, I got Keenan Allen and Dalton Schultz. Tim got Darnell Mooney, 2022 204, a 2023 second, and 2022 106. Not, man, it's not good. Like I said, this ends up working out, and I'm okay with it now. But at that time, I mean, Dalton Schultz was pretty good though too. He was a lot better. He was just a throwaway, but it really should have been. I probably should have took out either Mooney or one of those seconds. Is what should have happened.
Yeah, especially with the way that Mooney started looking in Chicago there for a little while.
Yeah, I'm still not sold though.
No, not at all. Especially,
They're gonna add a receiver.
yeah, they have to, especially with Allen Robinson leaving, more than likely. I don't think that he'd be back if he had a choice.
Right.
But
I don't think he's gonna come back. I hope he
those
doesn't come back.
picks is what does it for me.
Yeah, that's it.
I think that, yeah. I think you lost, but not by a lot.
Right.
I think it was a defeat that you can handle taking.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, it turns out okay, but all right, 15. Ken got Alan Lazard and a 2020, your 2023 first, and you got Julio. I don't like it. Even without Alan Lazard, I don't like it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. Obviously, I was hoping for more from Julio this year.
Yeah, I think he's. I mean, I feel bad, but I think he's about washed.
Yeah, I think that it'll end up being a decent trade if Julio comes back next year and gives me like a top 40, 50 finish. But Lazard was pretty much terrible this year.
Yeah,
So
he don't
that
count.
makes it a little better, but a first round pick in a
Great draft class.
in a great draft class, that's gonna probably come back to bite me. So that I'd give Ken the edge.
Yeah,
But I'm not terribly upset about it. It could have been worse, and could have got nothing out of Julio.
right,
But I got at least a couple starts out of him where he got nothing out of Lazard.
right. Yeah, Lazard's just a throw in at this point. And I'm really just looking at 2023 first. Julio Jones.
Yeah.
Anyways, on to 16. Bruce got 2022 110 and 2022 210. Austin Eckler. Bruce, you lost. Austin Eckler. I mean, if you just look at a first and a second for Austin Eckler, I can understand, but the picks being so late, like if it was like 2022 104 and 204, sure. But yeah, Austin Eckler was number 2 running back this year. He's got a couple good years left, I think.
He's only
Yeah.
26.
Yeah, he's only 26.
I think he's at the back end of his career, but at the same
But,
time,
yeah.
he's still got a couple years of probably
He's-
top 10 running back in him.
Yeah,
The way
absolutely.
he plays, I don't think he's gonna be at risk for a ton of injury. I know he got injured a little bit, but
Right.
Yeah, and the fact that he's one of the better receiving backs in the league.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think with the new scoring
Mhm.
that we have this year, it is really going to come back to bite him in the butt, that giving up arguably the top receiving running back there is, besides like Kamara, but he hasn't really been the same since Breeze.
Yeah.
But
I think Kamara basically punched and kicked himself out of that one.
yeah.
yeah.
It's a little rough looking at it now, but if, like you said, if the picks would have turned up
A little earlier.
then it would have been a little more even. But I think that because they slid back farther, that Bruce ends up losing and taking the L.
Yeah,
For sure.
it's all good. We didn't make them. Just like this next trade. I traded, this number 17, by the way. I got James Robinson, Zach got Cam Akers, and Devontae Parker. Talk about a panic trade. It looked good at first because James Robinson, because then right after that, or no, actually, I'm pretty sure that was the same exact day Travis Etienne got hurt. I traded that. So that at first I was like, hell yeah, I'm the fucking man. And then Cam Akers came back and it looks good again. Thanks, man. I figured it'd happen, but I didn't want to chance it. Especially with the way my year went, it wouldn't have fucking mattered if you would have been all right or not. Because I
Yeah.
just had another running back.
Yeah, at the time, it looked. In some of my leagues that I was in, Cam Akers was on the bench or on the free agent list.
Yeah.
Like there was people that were cutting him and weren't getting anything for him. So
Well, there was just what went through my mind was there was never ever a player that came back from a running back that came back from an Achilles injury was fantasy relevant.
Right.
I mean, Marlon Mack just did the same thing and he sucks. So
yeah,
It also took him a whole year. It didn't even take him a whole season.
yeah, like so for the fact that Cam Akers did this, like this is not a normal thing. So
no, I mean obviously we've only seen him back in a small sample size.
right, but he looks explosive. He looks like he'll be fine. you
Yeah,
know?
he does. Obviously, at the time it looked a lot better, but
yeah.
Cam Akers alone, he looks like he could be a top 10, top 15 running back for the next
Exactly.
5 years. So
Exactly.
that alone, you probably should have gotten
More.
double what you got.
But at the time, he was like worth a second when he got hurt, and everyone was like worried he was never going to play again or never be relevant. That's what I was thinking about. I was like, oh
Right.
my god. But so on to 18. Dylan got Rashad Penny and McCole Hardman, and Nick got Daryl Henderson. I mean, it kind of worked out. McCole Hardman, I've never been high on him. He's just okay for a game or two. Penny looked amazing at the end of the year, but who knows what his future holds. Henderson looked great at the beginning of the year, but he's probably third string now.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I was about to ask, did either of them get him off the bench? Because it seemed like once they probably got him, one went from good to bad, and the other went from bad to not good till a few weeks later when he wasn't really relevant.
I'm pretty sure Teachout was using Henderson at the beginning of the year, which was
Yeah.
fine. But Dylan was already out of the playoffs, I think, by the time Penny started coming around.
Yeah,
So
that's a little rough. It's hard to evaluate something like that because like you said, I'm not really sold on any of the guys in the trade. So
I'm curious to see where these guys go. Penny, especially, I know he's a free agent. So
yeah, and Henderson, he's gonna be buried on the depth chart.
right. So on to 19. Bruce got 2022 204 and a 2023 second. And Tim got Jarvis Landry. Woo! Good trade there. Not
Initially, it was a pretty solid trade. Jarvis was on track to have a top 15, top 20 receiving year.
yeah.
It wasn't even close. He was outperforming Odell and was Baker's favorite target.
But that's one thing that doesn't help is that Baker's your quarterback because he sucks.
Yeah. And it doesn't help also that he's 28, 29 years old.
Jarvis, yeah, he's getting up there.
And I mean, initially, yes, this year, possibly the next year or two, he's going to probably be a solid player. But if Bruce, right?
Yep.
If Bruce selects some all right players with those picks, he's already probably even, if not above, what Tim ended up getting out of it. So I think that Bruce ended up edging it out, but it's not as lopsided as people would like to say.
Right.
Well, also Landry was hurt for 5 games and he was still the 54th best wide receiver. So if he plays those 5 games, he's probably gonna be
Top 30, top 20 player, yeah. Yeah, he's clearly the number one target in Cleveland. I think Donovan Peoples-Jones is starting to emerge some, and obviously they're a run team and everything like that, but he's still a top 30, 35 receiver when he's healthy, at least, I'd say.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. All right. Tim, you were involved in 4 trades in a row. I guess so.
Needed an overhaul.
I guess so. So number 20, Jimmy got Sam Darnold and 2022 106. Tim got Sean Watson.
Fun fact, those are trained about an hour apart.
Yeah. If Deshaun Watson comes back, Tim wins, which I'm pretty sure he will at some point.
Technically,
106
he could
isn't a
play-
terrible pick.
Technically, he could have played this year.
He could have. I'm sure he probably would have got suspended if there was even a chance of him that was actually gonna play. But
Yeah.
2022 106, maybe Jimmy drafts a quarterback there. Because I know he still has the pick. So
I
your
think
pick, actually.
I think it's solid. Obviously, I'm not sold on Darnold. The pick is what does it. I think it'll end up being even-ish, but
If Watson comes
if
back,
Watson comes back, then it's a clear E1.
yeah, especially I'm sure he'll be fine, like ability wise.
Oh, yeah.
It'll probably take him a second to adjust back, but
Yeah, but with his athletic ability and
ridiculous.
his
He's really
age,
young.
he's still
Yeah.
got more than enough time. Even if he has a bounce back year where
Definitely.
it's rough, he'll have another 10 years on top of that to be able to
he's,
play.
he's an elite quarterback. 21 here, halfway. Nice easy trade. I got Sony Michelle. Tim got 2022 404. Yeah, cool. Yeah.
I think you end up winning because the fourth is a dart throw and Michelle is.
Yeah.
But,
He helped me for like 3 games. That's
but-
all. That's more than the 2022 404 to help me.
Right, which
So-
isn't a necessary.
Definitely not a slam dunk.
Yeah.
I'm close. It's like one player out of the 4th round always helps out each year.
You could have Chris Evans, or you could end up having OJ blah 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 blah.
Yeah, I would love to have one. All right, 22. Dylan got Dalvin Cook. Tim got 2022 107 and Devonta Smith. I mean, that's pretty solid. I think Tim wins in the long run, which I'm pretty sure is what I said at the time too. See who Tim picks at 107. Devonta Smith, a little underwhelming. I don't think it's necessarily his own fault. Hurt sucks. I know.
Yeah, and it was a little surprising he didn't have a better year this year because he doesn't really have any competition for targets, but at the same time, I think that offense is a mess.
Yep. Need a quarterback. I can
Yeah.
actually throw. Jalen Hurts is okay, but
And they need some identity on offense. It doesn't seem like they like in Baltimore. They you know what they're going to do. They're going to run the ball and
yeah,
build everything around
probably
that.
because of Harbaugh's a coach.
Yeah, and then in Philly, you don't really have an identity. It's 1 week you'll run the ball 40 times, next week you'll pass it 50.
Right.
I think that if I didn't see the trade before, that it would be I'd be pretty clear that Tim made out pretty well in that.
Yeah.
I think him losing such an early draft pick in the previous trade, it equals it out a little bit more for me than being able to say he won.
Mhm.
But it definitely went a long way in recuperating some of the assets that he lost when he got cut.
All right, 23. Time to redeem myself. All right, 2020. I got 2022 104, which is my own pick back. 2022 205, a 2023 first, which is Daniels, and a 2023 second, which is Daniels. And then Daniel got Keenan Allen and James Robinson.
Woo!
Thank you for making me get that back. Thanks for redeeming myself.
Yeah.
Daniel, please suck next year so I can have the first pick.
I
I'll just move on to the next one.
why?
It seemed good at the time. You know, it was doing good. James Robinson wasn't hurt yet.
I mean, yeah, that's true, I guess.
Yeah, but like I
Keenan
said,
Allen's old.
we're reacting now.
Robinson's. I mean, yeah, yeah. Great job.
Thanks, man. All right, 24. All right, I got 2022 310. Zach got Devontae Booker. Nothing like those bye week
Yay!
fill-ins or whatever. Oh yeah, Saquon was hurt, so he needed a running back.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hey, that's just one of those
Yeah.
trades. All right, on to 25. 25. Bruce got Terrace Marshall and Justin Fields. Jake got Ryan Tannehill, Cooper Kupp. I still feel the same. Jake won.
Yeah.
I still feel the same. Justin Fields, I think, could be a very good fantasy player. Terrace Marshall, I'm not. No. Tannehill is probably on his way down, but Cooper Kupp, it's good stuff right there.
That's one to write down and revisit in 2 more years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely could turn, definitely. But right now, Jake's got it
Yeah,
for sure.
if Fields can hit on the flashes that we've seen this year,
Yes.
where like 10 carries for 100-yard type stuff
Yeah.
on top of being able to actually be able to throw.
Yeah.
Um,
Kind of a hard thing for Ohio State quarterbacks, so is being able to throw.
yeah, and with that line, and then
They got a new coach coming in, so we'll see.
yeah,
You know, it's a defensive coach.
I think they definitely have the defense to be able to give him the opportunities to be a top 5, top 10 quarterback with the athletic ability he has. But that being said, I think it's going to take him a little longer to develop. And like you said, Terrence Marshall, he looked like he had the opportunity to be a very good wide receiver. Now I think that he'll be a subpar mid, if not a irrelevant wide receiver. So getting Cup out of the deal alone, I feel like wins it for me.
Yeah.
But Tannehill, even though he's older, he's still going to be at the worst for me a
Top 15.
plug and play
Yeah.
2 or 3 quarterback that I can use for the next 2 to possibly 5 years.
I agree. 26. That's me and you. You got Melvin Gordon. I got a 2023 second. I think it worked out good for both of us. I mean, you didn't win in the playoffs, and I didn't make the playoffs, so it's worked out.
Yeah.
It was just, I mean, honestly, no offense, but I kind of hope you suck this year, so the second tie, because I still have it.
Yeah.
So I mean, just suck. I
Um,
appreciate it.
I'm hoping my hope is that I can have a little healthier season this year.
I think you will.
And put everybody in together and actually have a full lineup instead of having a superstar in and one on the bench. So hopefully Melvin still has a year or 2 in him. But I would say that you probably won that trade because, like you said, I didn't exactly do anything in the playoffs, and Melvin's at the end of his career, so he could end up being a nobody for me,
Good.
and you end up getting a second-round pick out of it.
Right. All right. 27. Moving on along. I got Allen Robinson. Jimmy got 2022 205. I mean, I'll take the gamble at this point. I hope if Allen Robinson goes to a new team, I think he is older. So I'm not expecting him to be good forever. But if he can go on a new team, give me a good 2 years, 3 years, maybe a decent, better than this year because he sucked this year. Then I feel happy with it. I mean, I gotta take that gamble on a player that's player.
Yeah, I think that with that 205, you're looking at somebody that,
Especially in this draft class, like
yeah, you're probably with this draft class, you're probably the top 4 or 5 wide receivers are already off the board.
yep,
Probably the top 4 or so running backs are off the board. The top wide receiver or quarterback or so is probably off. So the value isn't great with the pick, but Robinson could be back to being a top 10, top 15 wide receiver next
the
year
talent,
on
I
a new
think.
team.
yeah. Maybe
And then-
Detroit.
and the sad fact of it is
Pretty sure it's from Detroit.
it could end up being vice versa, where Robinson ends up being a top 10 guy, and you get Robinson's replacement, and you get nothing.
Right.
Or Robinson can go to another shitty situation, and you draft the best second rounder in the thing.
Yeah.
So
like another Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah, so I think it's pretty even.
For sure.
Not a bad trade for either guy.
No, I feel like it was worth the gamble for me to see what happens.
Yeah.
28, me again. Wow, I had like 4 in a row. Yeah, I love it.
Pretty active.
Yeah, I guess so. I got Pat Fryermuth. Zach got Mike White and Brian Edwards. Let's go. Got my tight end of the future? Probably. Don't think he'll be elite, but if he can give me like around 7-8, I'll take it.
There aren't
sure.
very many elite
No.
tight ends, so
If he
to
can
have one of those top 15 guys,
yeah.
it isn't much different than a
No. Like
Top-
unless you're in like the top like 5, like you don't have anything really.
right.
Pat
And
Fryermuth, I feel is like right on that edge. Like I feel like he's in like the Mike Gesicki, Noah Fant tier, like right there with them guys.
yeah, he's
With a
definitely,
chance to be higher, honestly.
he's definitely got the possibility and the talent.
Mhm.
Brian Edwards looked like he could have emerged this year, but
And he
it's
didn't.
pretty clear with Henry Ruggs not being there and him not doing anything
We're pretty clear on where that's at.
that he's gonna end up being
Nobody.
a depth guy that
That's
doesn't
sad.
really get on the field and really doesn't crack anybody's lineup.
That's
So
sad.
yeah, I think that you end up winning that one.
Yeah, I think I did. 29, me. I got a 2023 second. And Ken got Evan Ingram. I'll take it. Sure.
Yeah, it's not
I think-
terrible. I mean, Ingram hasn't turned into what we expected. So a couple years ago, that'd been like, wow, Ingram only
Right.
went for that. But
Exactly. But his talent, I feel like he's more talented than what he puts out. I feel like.
I think he needs to change the scenery.
Figure out that
Yeah,
too.
he never repeated his rookie year.
No, his rookie year
No.
was great. And then I was like, oh my God, that was the worst thing I ever did. And then I did it.
But I think it's pretty solid. You ain't gonna get anybody special at that pick, and you're not. I don't
Hey, it's a
think he's
2023 second. I'm gonna get someone special. Watch.
I don't think that Ingram is gonna be any better than what we've seen. I think
Right.
at the best, he'll be a little bit better, but
Give me
pretty
more
solid
consistent.
either way.
Yep. 30. Tim got Jake's second or third round pick for the next 3 years for Jarvis Landry.
That was our hardest trade to complete.
That's hilarious. Jarvis freaking what's up with Jarvis Landry and bad trades? I guess that one's not really that bad, but
Well, the other one was,
couldn't be
uh,
trading 2
Jarvis-
seconds for him. I mean, could you imagine if you did that?
Each asshole.
Yeah,
I mean, geez, who benefited from that?
I'm pretty happy with that. He gave up a couple seconds, and then I gave up a couple thirds.
Yeah, I mean, I'd definitely rather get rid of the thirds. I mean, God.
Well, 3 of them though.
Three
Hall
of them.
Famers in that pick.
The only problem I had with it was that Jarvis pretty much got hurt not long after that, and he wasn't very useful. But he could end up being
Maybe a little more useful for you this year.
right. He could end up being right back to the number one option next year, and still probably has at least a handful of years of mediocre to decent production. And I think I'll take that over 3 dart throws.
Well, like, that was part of what compounded your whole issue with not being able to score a whole lot towards the end because all those injuries included. About next year.
Yeah, I think right now it probably looks like Tim won the trade, even though he lost the trade by having to trade him again. But but next year I think it'll end up looking like I came out on the better half of it.
Yeah,
Moral
we'll
of the
see.
story is I shouldn't trade with Bruce.
Right. All right. 31. I should trade with Bruce because all my bad trades are with Bruce. So I traded Christian McCaffrey and Nick Chubb for David Johnson. I mean, figure that out. Oh God, that was obviously before McCaffrey and Chubb was good, but
Yeah, but then I repaid him.
yeah, and then he gave me like Jonathan Taylor and whatnot. But anyways, 31. Tim got Tony Pollard and Brian Edwards. Back to Brian Edwards again, yeah. Zach got Marvin Jones and Kareem Hunt. I like Tony Pollard a lot, but I feel that Kareem Hunt kicks it to Zach's side.
Yeah, even with Hunt not having the greatest season this year, him alone I think wins that trade because he still has a couple years left in him of being a top 30, top 40 guy.
Yeah. He's I like Kareem Hunt a lot.
My bet there is that Pollard's gonna get a bigger share of the time next year with Zeke getting up there in miles.
You're not wrong.
It's a gamble. I mean,
Tony Pollard, if he was ever unleashed, would win the trade.
He definitely looked
But
better than Zeke this year.
he did too.
So it is a possibility that it could end up being pretty solid, but
and also at that time, I was still trying to make the playoffs. I had a chance. Hunt got hurt and banged up, so I was doing Hail Mary.
it ended up working out for both teams. But I like you said, I like Hunt probably a little too much to
Yeah, I like Hunt a lot.
give him up for a maybe in Pollard, but it could end up being solid.
32. Another trade. I got my 2022 404 back, and Tim got Devonta Freeman.
Nice.
Yeah, not bad. Just like one of those little plug and play trades.
A weak need.
Yeah.
hole.
Exactly. Then you won the trade.
Well,
33. Ken got. What the fuck is this trade? Ken got Carson Wentz. Bruce got Kadarius Toney and 312.
Oh God.
I think a starting quarter. I mean, Kadarius Toney could be pretty good, but still a starting quarterback.
Well, I think that was like right after Tony had like a game or two that was good.
Yeah,
And I was like, oh yeah.
he could be good. I
He got
do.
hurt right there, didn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think. And Carson Wentz is not really like locked and loaded as a starter. So
No, it seems like every time I turn on TV, Indy is trying to replace him with
Right.
whoever is on the market.
definitely.
They have to give up a first round pick for him
yeah,
because he
that
played
turned
too
into a-
much this year, right?
It is. It turned into a first round pick. Like, I don't know, probably what, like 20 or like 17 or something like that. Somewhere 19.
Yeah, that's a little rough. But like you said, he is still a starting quarterback, so that's a little hard to get over.
Right. 34, another. It's actually Devonta Freeman again. Nick got Devonta Freeman. Tim got 2022 311, so he gained a little
Yeah.
bit. He gained about 5 spots.
And
But
one a week.
there
Yeah.
you go. He won a week, and oh my God, Tim, right there, like that, right there is how you win fucking championships.
That is a
Like-
week to week manager
Right
that,
there.
That is doing what
Like-
he has to do to get a win.
Right, like I do that. Like I've preached that this whole time I'm playing dice. Like honestly, I'm wet right now just reading that.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, that's,
like
that's exactly what you preached to me all last
Right.
year. Like, stop focusing
Like,
on big
win the fucking
impact
week.
ones and just win each week. And even if that means picking up somebody that will never play again the rest of the year,
Right.
which is essentially Freeman.
right.
If you can flip him for an even better pick the week after utilizing the win, that is a win-win in my opinion.
Right, like when I'm playing fantasy, all I think about is Herm Edwards like all the time. Like I just you play to win the game. Like that's all I do.
Right.
Just play to win the game. Anyways, 35. I honestly don't even remember this trade happening like at all. But Nick got Jamison Crowder and the 2023 fifth, and Tim got Devin DuVernay and a 2023 third. I don't even remember this happening.
I don't either.
And honestly, it basically looks like they went to each other's houses, took each other's garbage cans, and put them at their own house.
That's
Like,
exactly what it looks like.
happened.
Hey, who's the worst guy in your bench? Oh, I'll give you my worst guy on my bench for your guy.
Like what guy are you cutting next? All right, we'll switch.
My worst guy is younger now.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, I guess.
Tim got a good like kick returner out of it. So
And he got a third instead.
oh
of
yeah, he got a
fifth,
third. So
but,
so
yeah.
Tim probably won the trade just because he got the third out of it.
I think we negotiated that. Like, I think we went back and forth like 4 times. If I remember correctly.
All right, 36. We're getting towards the end of the season here. I'm not really sure how I feel about this trade right now. I feel like by this time next year, I might really love myself for it. But right now, I'm still iffy. So I got Elijah Moore in 2022 111. Nick got Chris Godwin, Sony Michelle, Dalton Schultz, and a 2023 third. I'm not
So you
sure.
won, yeah, you won.
I don't know, man. Chris Godwin's really good. Sony Michelle, I don't really think is going to be anything. It all depends on how Dalton Schultz gets because I feel like Dalton Schultz, he's a free agent after this.
Yeah.
He's a free agent.
So
I feel
is
like he
Chris
could go,
Godwin.
yeah, I feel like Dalton Schultz could turn out to be like Austin Hooper. Like he was a product of the offense.
Yeah.
And like he could go somewhere and be not good.
Oh yeah,
I think
because
worst case
even
scenario, you
when
was even.
Right.
when Dallas had Witten at the end of his career, it was clear that Dak, that is his go-to safety valve, is his tight end. Doesn't matter if it's Witten, doesn't matter if it's Schultz, doesn't matter who's in there.
Yeah.
He enjoys throwing to the tight ends. So I do think that his numbers will dip if he doesn't come back to Dallas. My thing is Chris Godwin.
Towards ACL.
He is so good, and he is going to be sought after by a lot of people.
He is.
And it was eye-poppingly noticeable the difference between their offense when he got hurt and when he was
Mhm.
there. So
He's a damn good player.
he
He's
is.
very, very good player.
Elijah Moore looked like he has some specialty
Yeah.
in him.
Okay, let's put it this way. If Zach Wilson develops into like what they think he can develop into, I think Elijah Moore will turn elite, honestly. Like he'll be
Yeah.
They- they have like what, 2 picks in the top 10 this year? Like I don't think they're gonna add anything like offensive wise. Maybe like line, obviously, but
Maybe a DB or
Right.
something like that. Yeah.
if Zach Wilson can develop, Elijah Moore, honestly, actually from like week 9 till week 13, I think it was, he was the wide receiver 6.
Yeah, he was one
Like
of my
he was very, very good.
he was one of my favorite rookies this
Yeah.
year.
So if he can, he didn't do anything in the beginning of the season really. Those 3 weeks he did, then he got hurt. Then he came back, I think, like the very last week.
He's just so shifty, and he
Yeah.
has such a good ability to get in and out of his cuts.
Kind of reminds me of like a young Antonio Brown a little bit.
A little bit, and with the size and everything. Yeah. Obviously, a little bit of it comes down to the quarterback play.
Yeah, it all comes down to the quarterback play, I feel like, with him. Although he did just fine when Mike White was throwing the ball and Joe Flacco was throwing the ball. That's
Right.
honestly when he was doing his weeks. It was when those two were
Which
throwing
is
the ball.
encouraging to see. I think the biggest thing that comes down to me is where Chris Godwin ends up.
Yeah,
Because if he ends up back in Tampa Bay, then it could be an all right trade for you.
yeah.
If he ends up like in Chicago and developing into Justin Fields' top target, or
I think he's
going to pair up with Aaron Rodgers somewhere or something like that, then you could be in trouble. But
yeah.
at the same time, I think it's a risk worth taking, especially with Godwin's injury history and
Yeah.
the fact that he's what 6-7 years older than
Yeah, I think he's
Elijah.
26 or 27.
Yeah, so
But
he's
still young enough. And the way his game translates, I think he'll be able to play longer than normal receivers.
yeah, he just won't be at the top tier. I think that it's pretty solid trade, and we'll have to. That's one of these ones that we'll have to come back to in a year or two
Exactly.
and
Well,
kind of reevaluate, see where they're at then.
Yeah. All right, another trade. 37, we got Ken gets Donta Foreman and 2022 311, and Tim got Tommy Tremble.
It's pretty solid.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, if Donta Foreman can go somewhere and like be anything, I don't know.
I
We'll see.
mean,
Tommy Tremble could be okay too.
that's
so.
one of those weak trades to get you through the week. Foreman is obviously, we kind of know what he is. He's not going to be a starter anywhere, but he could give you a plug and play start here or there. Tremble looks like he's got some hype where he could be a decent tight end.
Right.
He's more of a blocking tight end from what I've seen, though.
That's what I've heard too.
So, it's not a terrible trade, but like you said, it's a trade that just kind of helps out the team from week
Alrighty then.
to week.
Anyway, on to 38. Down to our championship game trades. So Ken got Alvin Kamara in 2022 108. Charlie got Christian McCaffrey, 2023 first, 2022 311, and a 2023 third. I feel like Kamara and McCaffrey are kind of a wash.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure how Kamara's gonna be without Peyton. McCaffrey's better if he can stay healthy.
Oh yeah, he's a top 3, top 5 guy if he's healthy. At the same time, I've also been seeing rumors that he could be on the move this year because they're tired of essentially dealing with his injuries.
Right.
And
then
or at least not make him a focal point.
Right. Yeah, they're gonna have to figure out something.
Also, is Kamara in trouble?
Yeah, that too. Kamara could definitely be getting in trouble. I think he'll probably be suspended.
Yeah, at the very least, they'll probably serve a game or two suspension.
Yeah,
At the worst, he could
get
be,
6.
be sitting for half a season.
Yeah. I honestly think he'll get 6 because that's usually what they do now.
Yeah,
Pretty much made it like after the whole like Ezekiel Elliott thing, they pretty much said, okay, if you do something stupid, you get 6 games.
right.
You know?
Which I mean, there is consequences for everybody's actions, whether
Yeah.
you're a millionaire or not.
Yeah. And
Um,
then the 2022, the first basically got swapped. I'd rather have 2023 first
yeah,
than the 2022 108. I don't care if it ends up being number 12. Like I'd rather have that.
yeah, because that seems like a more solid draft class.
Seems that way. I mean, obviously, we'll see how it ends up, but
Yeah, I would
and then you
say.
got the 2/3 on top of it.
Yeah, I'd say if I had to pick, I'd say Charlie won.
Yeah.
Just because the picks, and if I'm being honest, that when they're both healthy, I'd take McCaffrey over Kamara.
Exactly.
But at the same time,
We're in with both of those two. We're really in a we'll see mode. Like,
right? I understand why the trade was done. It was a playoff push trade. that
Yeah,
was
and
trying to,
McCaffrey obviously wasn't going to be playing.
right, and Kamara could have put Ken over the edge, which obviously did. So it worked out for both of them. I think that long term,
Charlie.
Charlie ended up coming out on the better end.
All right, we got 3 left. 39. Dylan got Corey Davis and Chris Godwin, and Nick got Nick Chubb. I think it's a pretty solid trade. I think Dylan will win out in the end because I think Nick Chubb might be. I don't think he's on his last legs by any means, but I think it's going to be sooner than later that he's going to start dropping off.
Yeah, especially with, I think there'll be some question marks with Baker in the next year or two. So I think that they could revamp that entire offense in the next couple of years.
I'm actually kind of surprised with him tearing both of his ACLs in college that it hasn't affected him yet.
And he's had some leg issues in the pros,
Yeah.
but it hasn't seemed to like reoccur.
It didn't bother him as much, nor near what I thought it would.
Right. Obviously, I'm not a huge fan of Corey Davis as a ex-Titan. He's got the worst hands in the league, except for N'Keal Harry. But Chris Godwin evens that out some, and his longevity of being still 26, 27, something like that. I think pushes it to where, like you said, Dylan wins the trade a little bit more for me. But if Nick Chubb can increase his longevity even a year or two longer than what I could see it being now, he could end up being a better guy in the long term.
I agree. All right, 40. I got Justin Jefferson, and Daniel got DK Metcalf and 2022 111.
I was so mad when you did this. So mad.
I was so excited. I mean, DK in a first round pick with DK. DK is not terrible.
No,
But-
and it could all change if
Russell
he
Wilson
becomes the clear number one target.
Yeah.
Um,
I wasn't too mad about giving up the 111 by any means, and I probably got the Dynasty 1 at worst 2. I
Yeah.
mean,
in my opinion, when I seen it happen, the first thing that popped in my head is this dude just got fucking Devontae Adams 2.0.
yeah,
He's gonna be the dude that doesn't matter if it's with Kirk Cousins or he's with Joe Bob.
Joe
He's
Bob.
gonna get 10 targets a game.
I mean, he's like the Dynasty number 1 or 2 with Kirk Cousins as your quarterback. I mean,
right. So if he gets anybody that's at it, I don't like Kirk Cousins. So if he gets a decent quarterback,
Yeah.
then he could easily be the number one wide receiver year in and year out.
Also, he's only 21 years old.
Right. It's insane. His talent with the age, obviously DK is really young as well.
Yeah.
Giving up a first kind of sucks,
But
but
this draft class, and I wanted the consistency of Justin Jefferson.
Right.
DK has his moments where he plays out of his mind, but then he has those games where he gets like 5 points too. And Justin
Yeah.
Jefferson seems to be consistent at like 20, 50,
That's-
18 to 20 every single game.
That's
At
the,
least.
That's the big difference that I've noticed with some players where people are like, I want Kelsey or a Kittle, and then I would look at it as I want a Waller because Waller every game was putting up at
Right.
least 10, 15 points where Kelsey would do that majority of the games, but then you'd also have where Tyreek would go off or this guy would go off.
Kittle is definitely like
Yeah,
Kittle's, up and
so
down, and he gets hurt a lot.
consistency is a lot more of a valuable thing than I think people realize, and
Mhm.
Justin Jefferson's about as consistent as you get.
Yeah, I'm very excited to literally have my number one wide receiver for years to come.
Next decade, if you want.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, that's definitely possible. I mean, there's no reason to trade him because you can't really get any higher. I mean,
No, because by the time that he gets 27, 28, his value is going to dip to the point where you could
yeah,
probably just keep him and keep the production over
just
that.
keep him. Yep. All right, last one. Ken got Josh Allen. Daniel got Carson Wentz, Mike Williams, Jordan Love, 2022 108, and a 2023 first. It seems like a lot, but I still think Ken won
Yeah.
because, spoiler alert, Josh Allen's my number one quarterback.
I have a hard time putting him up there just because I don't respect the dude as a quarterback. I respect him as a football player. Like, when I look at Josh Allen, I don't see quarterback. I see like that dude can run the ball. That dude can
Yeah,
get the job done. Not like, hey, he's going to throw for 400 yards. But Carson Wentz sucks.
yeah. Mike Williams is wishy-washy, plus he's a free agent.
Jordan Love
sucks.
is garbage. You can't even hit the net at practice.
No, the 2023 first and 2022 108, sure. Yeah.
Those are what makes it more even for me.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz isn't
If Carson Wentz can figure, if Mike
the
Williams
worst quarterback,
yeah. I don't know.
but it's like the regular NFL. You're going to have an extremely hard time finding another Josh Allen,
Yeah,
and
he's finished.
having one that definitely goes a long way.
He's finished as the number one quarterback the last 2 years.
Yeah.
So, but all right, that's it. All 41 trades that you guys decided to do this year. Granted, I'm pretty sure I was involved in like 15 of them, but
I was involved in a lot more than I realized.
yeah. Yeah, but yeah, we made up a lot of them. But any last words?
Overall thoughts on the year trades?
Yeah, I mean, good times. There was definitely some bad ones.
Yeah.
Definitely some good ones. Definitely some that we'll still have to see about.
Yeah.
Um,
Some big time players got moved this
they
year.
did, especially towards the end of the season.
Yeah. Number one wide receiver got moved this year.
Number 1, 2 quarterback. You know.
Number one quarterback got moved.
Mm-hmm. Kamara, McCaffrey.
Top 5 wide receivers got moved.
They did. I'm excited to see what the offseason brings, especially since Monday everything opens back up. So you'll be able to do trades. Waivers won't run until Wednesday, but you can still put your money in, claims in. Remember, we got an extra 5 spots right now. It will get cut back down, but right now we have the extra 5 spots, so y'all should have 5 spots in your thing, maybe, unless you had to get players off IR, obviously. So yeah, don't forget. I don't know when you guys are going to listen to this. It might not be till Monday, but reminder, free agencies, trades will be ready to go right away. And I'm almost kind of like, there was part of me while I was watching the playoffs where I was like, man, I wish I could trade right now. But then there was also part of me that was like, man, I'm glad I can't, because then I'm going to be overreacting to some of the stuff that's going on. So I was able to, process. I definitely am going to put out some feelers tomorrow, or not tomorrow, but Monday. So there's people, I'm just going to look and check, like, hey, what's the price for this guy? What's the price for this guy? Doesn't mean I'm going to try to make a trade.
Yeah.
Just to see, where people are at.
Who's going to be playoff Lenny this year?
Right. So
yeah, it should definitely be a fun pickup when it starts again.
Yeah.
With all the hype around the Super Bowl and everything right now.
for sure. It was a nice break.
Yeah.
Nice. I definitely will do it. Be continuing to do it. Everybody deserves that break and stuff.
You got a Super Bowl prediction?
I am going to say the Rams win by 7.
31-28 Bengals.
I'm gonna say the only reason I think the Rams are gonna be so good. I think this was gonna be like. I think it's gonna be a lot like the Titans game. I think Joe Burrow's gonna get sacked a shit ton because the Rams pass rush is very, 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 very good. But Stafford's better than Tannehill. The Rams offense is better than the Titans offense. That's what the difference is gonna be. That's why I think the Rams are gonna win.
Very possible.
So, but I'm definitely not gonna be mad at the Bengals win because I really like Joe Burrow. And it's
Yeah.
a shame that he had to do so well because I was gonna trade for him.
It's a shame that I didn't redraft him in this league.
Yeah, right. But
I think don't look so bad now, does it?
yeah, at the time I was kind of hoping he's gonna fall to me at like 12. I was like, I'll take Joe Burrow. That's cool.
Oh,
I was like,
I-
I'm a little worried about his
I
injury,
totally
but
would have.
yeah, but all right, everyone. Peace out. I know you can't see me doing the peace out, but I literally just did it.
Peace.
Peace.